Alright, just thought I'd make a little video here on my 125-gallon aquarium. Two painted turtles. I've got three large goldfish in there, a couple of tin foils, a ginormous Pleco swimming around there. We've got about a, I'm going to say probably 12-inch or better Garafi catfish in there, and as you can see, all the fish are extremely healthy. Geophagus there are my painteds, my big Plecos in the back there. He's got to be at least a foot long also. Got some barbs in there, some giant Danios in there. This tank is really a showpiece, and is really a accumulation of all my years in the hobby. When I used to be a breeder and I used to ship all over the country, I had about 100 tanks, and so I just thought I would do a little bit of a video here on the high-tech filtration system that I have here. And basically what it consists of is I have an under-gravel filter. It's about probably, I'm going to say, 2.5 inches of gravel on the bottom. And I also have on this tank, there's a couple of sponge filters I just threw in there. I broke down a couple of other aquariums, so to keep the bacteria going, I just recently threw them in there. But more than that, I have there's an under-gravel filter in here. Now I've got the whole tank lined with filter plates. There are filter plates under every inch of this aquarium, all the way along. So the tank is 6 feet long, so it's 6 feet by, I'm going to say, about a foot wide of all biological filtration. Every lift tube on the tank is working in the back. There's 12 altogether, so that I get an even bacteria all the way through the tank. There are no spots where I don't have good airflow through the gravel. It's also not being run by power heads. Power heads tend to be very expensive, and if I put 12 power heads in here to power up this under-gravel filter, it would be very costly. So as you can see, the water is absolutely crystal clear. I've yet to see somebody who has turtles, especially two turtles, in their tank, that the water is even a fraction of how clear that this is. The water in this tank is just absolutely perfect. So just thought I would do a little bit of a video here on my tank and what's been going on with it. There is no wet-dry filtration on this tank. My wet-dry filter in this tank is actually an internal under-gravel filter, which basically does the same thing as a wet-dry filter, but at probably a third the cost. So also under this tank there's a couple of small canister filters. These are filters that I had laying around from when I had my fish room, and I had about 100 aquariums down there in my fish room, and I used to ship all over the country. I was a pretty big breeder at one time. But these were just like leftover filters. Basically this tank is a thrown together tank of all the goodies that I had laying around down my basement, and you could see that it works extremely well. The water in this tank is just extremely clear and clean. I do probably about a 50% water change once a week, which you'd have to do on any tank. I don't care what it is. Public aquariums and zoos that have large aquariums get in there once a week or once every 2 weeks or 3 weeks and do a big water change and clean their gravel and clean all their decorations also. So that's you can't get around that. That you have to do. Little aquarium over there in the corner, that's just a 10 that I've got a whole bunch of Java moss in, and I've also got some Endler's live bearers in there. Kind of hard to see. That's powered by a sponge filter. Over here I have also another 55-gallon aquarium. That's a whole colony of crabenzas, wild crabenzas, that I actually bred. And I've had them now for, probably about 2 years. Also another big Pleco in there. As you can see them there. There's another smaller Garafi catfish down in the corner back there. and he's doing good. And this tank is also just filtered by biological filtration. There are 3 sponge filters that filter this tank, and that's it. There's no other filtration. There's no canister filters on this tank. Nothing at all in that way. It's just the 3 water chain, the 3 sponge filters that I have on here, and that's it. And you could see how clear the water in this tank is. The fish are just doing excellent. I have no problem, no fin problems, no loss of fish, and there are a lot of fish in that tank. I'm going to say that there are probably 50 at least in there, running off of 3 biological sponge filters. And again, a low-cost filter. You don't have to get into all these high-tech filters and wet-dry filters to have a successful aquarium. When I had my 100 fish tanks down the basement, and I used to breed and ship, I powered them all with sponge filters. They were all bare bottom tanks. It was all biological filtration, and that's all it was. And it's basically the same thing in my 125. It's all biological filtration, some mechanical filtration with the canister filters, but not much. And what this tank cost me in total to put together isn't even the cost of 1 wet dry filter that you would need to filter this tank. So then again, you know, guys that think that they have to go high-tech and all this fancy stuff and drilling out your tanks and, you know, big expense and all of this and going crazy with this stuff, you know, hey, under gravel filter, look at the water, you know, 2 turtles in there, 3 big goldfish, a giant Garaffi catfish, a 12-inch Placo, all kinds of tinfoil barbs, a geophagus, a whole bunch of tetras in there, and giant danios and stuff like that. And look at the water in this tank. I mean, this tank is just gorgeous. This tank is a showpiece, you know. So just thought I'd do a quick video on it, and take care.